welcome back to Tournament Center here at Pro Tour Nagoya. I've been joined by Ken Nagle from R&D from Wizards of the Coast. Who knew? Ken, great to have you on the show.
Thanks Rich.
For joining us. Now, your first involvement with the company, this is Great Designer Search, right?
Absolutely. I was in the Great Designer Search. I was among 1,048 other people applied for a job, and over time I submitted cards and eventually I made it in the doors, and now I design cards and sets and stuff.
Okay, now R&D is very much this sort of, there's a big mix within R&D. Sometimes your design, sometimes your development. Everyone pitches in with play testing and ideas and on all the different sets and the special projects like Commander. What have you done on Commander? What's your role there?
So on Commander, I'm the lead designer, which means I have control over the design team and the specs of the product, and I'm supposed to hand over a well-drafted product and card set to development.
And development then kind of tweaks the cards, but the raw outline of pretty much every card in the 5 decks, that comes from design.
Starting from nothing, I give them a blueprint, and then they take that to what you see on the shelf.
Okay, and that's where they kind of go, this is a little bit overpowered, or this is just too much fun, and we're going to have to just make it cost a teeny bit more.
Yeah, this developer is killing all the fun.
Okay. You wouldn't say that if you're on the development team, my friend. Okay, so we're going to look in depth at a Commander deck tech. Remember, Commander is the multiplayer format, once upon a time called EDH, so Commander, and we start with, here we are up at the top of the table with your Commander. Now this is a brand new card. Tell us about Zedru the Great-Hearted. Got a lot of text, but boy, he does some great stuff.
Right, Zedru the Great-Hearted is the main general of this deck. You can donate your cards to your opponents, and then you get benefit from them. You get to draw extra cards and gain extra life every turn.
Okay, and the more of that kind of stacks up, right? So if I have 6 mana and I donate 2 things, the next turn I come back round, I'm going to draw 2 extra cards and 2 life. Is that right?
As long as you give different opponents things.
Yep.
All right, so ideally you want to give 1 thing to each of your opponents. All right, so
got you. That's
the goal with Zedru, is to make that happen.
Okay, so already it's a very strange deck idea, this idea of giving things away. We're going to start up top left with a row of, well, essentially walls, because a lot of this deck is about not dying. We've got some real classics from down the years, haven't we? We've got Wall of Omens, Wall of Denial, Gomezar Plume Veil up here, and Court Huzzah. That was a great card in Constructor when that was around. Right,
it's a staple from a Ravnica block. These cards are going to keep you alive in the early game, and they're very good at stopping a large creature, like Fog Bank. Stop basically anything, 1 large attacker.
Okay.
So this is, first and foremost, the first line of defense.
Okay, first line of defense. Let's go to the second line of defense. And these, particularly these 3 cards we've got here, Ghostly Prison, Windborn Muse, and in between, the name that is synonymous with all these kind of effects down the history of the game, Propaganda. It just basically says, you know what, if you want to attack me, you better spend some mana to do it.
Right, so Propaganda started in blue. This is now a white effect, and we made it a white card, Ghostly Prison.
Yep.
But these are keep you safe from a large swarm of attackers. So
Kuldotha Red doesn't like Propaganda
they would hate Ghostly Prison.
Okay. And then we've got some more, again, Please Don't Attack Me effects. And I know there's a card you want to highlight here, a new card, Martyr's Bond, this 6 mana enchantment. Tell us about that.
Right, so if your opponent is killing your stuff, whenever your non-land permanents go to your graveyard, they also have to lose something. So this is more deterrence to keep opponents off of you.
So we keep going with this Please Leave Me Alone. Now, this section here, tell us the name of the deck.
The name of the deck is Political Puppets.
Political Puppets. And this section here is your kind of, well, your political, your manifesto almost, and you're kind of saying to your opponents, hey, you know what, I know eventually we're going to not like each other very much, but hey, that doesn't mean we can't have some fun in the meantime. And a card like Trade Secrets, for example, target opponent draws 2 cards, then you draw up to 4 cards. Well, if you choose the right opponent, then they're going to be pretty happy with you, right?
Right, so a lot of these cards are about making friends. So if you can find someone who will cooperate, both of you can benefit greatly from a Trade Secrets. If one player's not behaving very well, you can target them with the Death by Dragons and give everyone else a dragon to attack with.
Oh wow, each player other than target player
gets
a 5/5. Wow, that's really vicious, isn't it?
Right. the vow cycle over here, these are also new cards. So you can use vows to enhance your creatures, or you can put them on your opponent's creatures, and that creature will not attack you anymore and most likely attack someone else.
Excellent.
So this is more politicking, helping your opponents to also help yourself.
And what's neat about those is that in a lot of games you get the opportunity to just go, oh yeah, I made a deal with you, but I changed my mind. But with the vows, it says on the card, no, they can't attack you, it's a vow. So that is the deal with that. Of course, sometimes you don't want to really make a deal, you just want to get rid of things that don't really help them very much. And we've got a set of cards up here, a card like Howling Mine, a real classic from down the ages, Vidalcan Plotter, Goblin Cadets, that's like a pinball going all over the place, isn't it? And these are cards that really only benefit you to send them away. They don't really get much benefit from them.
Right. This is kind of your cash to use with Zedru to give away. So if possible, these are cards that are very good to have on your opponent's side of the board, because this is not going to help them all that much, while it does power your Zedru up all the way.
Let us go to the second row of cards. Now remember, these decks, you get 100 cards, so there's a lot of stuff to get through. It's fantastic. And of course, you're not playing 4 of any one card, so every game you're going to get a whole ton of different effects, different interactions. Tremendous fun. We go on to line 2, and we've got just some general guys, you know, Azorius Guildmage, Jotun Grunt, Flametongue Carver, a really famous card from down the ages. That was one of the real powerhouse constructed cards. 4 damage to a creature when it enters the battlefield. Little bits of equipment. But then we get to a big section here where I guess you broadly call them tricks.
Right, there's a lot of tricks in this deck in case your opponents get past your walls, they get past your propagandas. You can then do these kind of instant like tricks to mess them up even further, to make them even more wary of attacking you. A nice timely Pollen Lullaby could stop your opponents for a turn or even 2 turns. There's a nice Chaos Warp here. This is a new card.
Okay, so tell us about this.
So Chaos Warp, it shuffles a permanent into its owner's library, and then they get to flip something, and maybe they get something better, maybe they get something worse. But in every case, it's not attacking you anymore if it was a giant creature.
And I don't have to rip that card up when I play it, right?
No.
It's not that kind of chaos.
No, it's not chaos.
Okay, so a lot of tricks. Then every deck needs mana, and you've got next some artifacts that are going to help you along.
It's pretty staple to have mana artifacts in your commander decks.
Is that a Soul Ring?
Yes, we reprinted Soul Ring in these queues. This is a From the Vault Relics art for Soul Ring.
That's pretty beautiful and great to have in a deck, because Commander is a format where I guess you are going to get to a lot of mana in games, and to be able to get there slightly quicker is always good news.
That's right. You're always happy to see a Soul Ring in your commander deck.
Okay, so there's your artifacts to accelerate, and then you've got some card draw, classic Brainstorm, Perilous Research, Vision Schemes, Murmurs from Beyond, and Skyscribing. But you know what? Sometimes you end up in a situation where the walls aren't going to get the job done. You end up in a situation where your propagandas aren't going to get the job done, where you're being political but they're just not buying what you've got for sale, where your creatures aren't going to get in the way, where your card draw isn't enough, where they see all your tricks coming. And then it's time to be properly mean. And we've got a pair of cards over here that say, okay, thanks for trying, let's get some things in the bin.
Right, so Austere Command's one of the very best reset buttons, because you get to choose what to kill. So you can blow up only your opponent's stuff and not yours, and sometimes leave a player alone if they were being nice to you. A False Prophet's a very nice rattlesnake in that when you have this on the battlefield, people are very unlikely to come at you at all, or else everything is going to die.
So when it goes to a graveyard from the battlefield, exile all creatures. So that's not just yours and not just one opponent, that's every creature that's out there.
Right.
Wow. That's pretty scary. Now, you know what? We've got a lot of cards on the table, and we keep talking about not losing. But sooner or later, Ken, we've got to win.
You gotta get it. Gotta get there.
Gotta get there. So how are we going to get there? I guess part of the answer is this bottom row here. Kick off with this brand new card, Ruhan of the Fomori, 7/7. That's quite a lot for 4 mana.
Right. Ruhan is a new commander, a new legendary creature. It's 3 colors: red, white, and blue. He does something that we do sometimes playing normally, is you roll a dice to see who you're going to attack, all right, so that you can take the blame off you, all right? So this guy gets to attack, and you're kind of blameless for attacking at all.
It wasn't my fault. It was the dice that made me do it.
It's like Ruhan decided to attack you. You can't be mad at me. Be mad at Ruhan.
I like that. That's very neat. And then we've got more big guys. You've got your Trample with Rapacious One, Dominus of Fealty that flies, another big fly from Magic's past, Numot the Devastator, lovely card. Brian's Stoutarm, that did a lot of good work because it's got this tap ability, sacrifice a creature other than this, and he deals damage to the sacrificed creature's power to target player. So you get a big guy, boom. But the big two, I guess. Tell me about Reigns of Power, first of all.
So Reigns of Power is you're going to trade all of your creatures for one of your opponent's creatures, just for the turn.
Okay.
So you usually have a lot of walls and stuff like that, and your opponents have lots of great creatures they'd love to attack you if you didn't have walls.
Yep.
So Reigns of Power is going to give you a free attack against some other player by staking all the creatures for a turn.
That seems pretty exciting, but there's no doubt where the most exciting card for me in this deck is, and the card I can't wait to play when I get my hands on this deck. Insurrection. Oh, hello. Untap all creatures and gain control of them until end of turn. They gain haste until end of turn. I believe that involves killing everybody.
That's right. Insurrection is a very, very famous red card in Commander. You basically end the game with one word.
Yes! Insurrection. Another game?
Yes.
Thanks for trying. Listen, it looks amazing. It's one of the most beautiful decks I think I've ever seen on Tournament Center. I can't wait to get going with Zedru the Great-Hearted. Red, white and blue, the Commander decks coming to a store near you very, very soon. Get out there and play some Commander. From Wizards R&D, Ken Nagle, lead design for Magic the Gathering Commander. Many thanks. I'm Rich Hagon saying bye.